Dudes, it's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So we got level 10,000 Steel Path Mesa today. Mesa is a very fun frame for basically becoming a turret, and we're an invisible turret today, so we'll be able to take care of the entire room of enemies with complete safety and ease. So let's hop right into the build. But before we do, make sure to sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, build videos, news videos, all that kind of stuff. Great place Warframe content. I'm pretty sick today, so if my voice sounds different than usual, that's why. Alright, so as far as the Mesa build today, we're going to be trying to go for big safety and also big damage. So we've got a special helmet on here to make ourselves very, very survivable in a different way than usual. We got the Quiver ability from Ivara, and what we're going to do with this is we're actually going to throw in a cloaking bubble, and we're going to use that cloaking bubble to basically keep ourselves invisible. We can become a turret and cover the entire room with this strategy. Additionally, with some of the newer arcanes like Arcane Hotshot, we can get easy red crits on Mesa, which makes taking out the room really, really even easier too. And it also is red crits, which look cool. So let's hop right into the build and discussion. Okay, so we're going to go hop into the sim here. You can see the footage. It does take care of the room of enemies quite well. Of course, it does work at level 10,000. Now, as far as the build on Mesa, as I said, we do have the invisibility arrow from Ivara. And I might not look invisible right now, but it's actually a setting in the game where you can change your cloak settings. So we've got glow cloak on here, semi-cloak, or standard. So standard will be like you actually just being invisible. Glow cloak, you have to basically know when you're invisible. And semi-cloak is like a little bit in between. So I walk into this bubble, and we're invisible to the enemies. So that is going to be a big part of our survivability here. And as far as our damage, it does come from heat procs and also from our really, really fast fire rate. So right now, we need to get some stacks to like really stack it up. We've got massive crit chance buffs. You can actually even use the Afentis spear gun to buff your fire rate even further. It does work for your teammates too, so lots and lots of fire rate to dish out here. Now, as you can see too, the DOT procs are not that strong. I'd recommend that you go for a burst damage setup on Mesa, not entirely focused on DOTs. But yes, as far as what I've got here on Mesa, I've got 5 Topaz Archon Shards giving secondary crit chance each. Whenever a enemy is killed by a heat proc, or suffering from a heat proc, you'll get increased secondary crit chance, and that will stack up to 75% from each shard. Technically, you could take one of these off, but I want to keep all of them on there. As far as what you'd replace it with, you could put some casting speed on instead of one of these Topaz Shards. As far as the build on Mesa, our build on Mesa is actually very focused on just pretty much being able to cast our abilities. Now, there are certain things on here you do definitely want, like Archon Vitality. Our pistols are focused on heat procs. This is going to give us double heat procs, which is very good with Arcane Hotshot. But yeah, if you don't know what a bunch of this stuff is, I'm going to let you know what it is right now. So we got corrosive projection. Due to us not having any armor strip built into the build, because enemies' armor is not even that big of a deal nowadays, corrosive projection will be enough just to have a baseline armor strip on all enemies. Prime sure footed, so we don't get knocked over. It's not that big of a deal because we're in a cloaking bubble, but it does sometimes, we sometimes get attacked still. They like attack our companion or something like that. Archon stretch can just be replaced with normal stretch if you want. The reason that we got Archon stretch in here is I have to get the Panzer Volpaphyla equipped, and the Panzer Volpaphyla is going to throw out some electric procs that do count as our electric procs for some extra energy regen. You don't need this. You just go normal stretch in the end, but yes, I threw it on here because we have the capacity for it. Archon Vitality, as stated, gives us double heat procs in our pistols. We want that for our Arcane. We don't really care about the increased HP part about this. If you weren't like going for a budget version of this and you still had Arcane Hotshot for some reason, you can just go unranked Archon Vitality. It'll be exactly the same. It just, you have less HP that you don't even need in the first place. Rolling Guard, our only real survivability mod for level 10,000, because Vitality does nothing at level 10,000. Basically, whenever we roll, we are going to drop all of our procs that are on us to make it invincible. You've also got secondary fortifier in our pistols to give us overguard too, so we have a couple layers of invincibility on here. Equilibrium, every orb that we pick up will make it an energy orb and vice versa. Very good for just gunning down an entire room with Mesa and then just getting full energy immediately after you just jump into that group of enemies. Next, Prime Flow. We have a very energy-hungry build on here with our focus on our 4th ability, the Peacemakers, so you do want to have Prime Flow on here to spam energy constantly. Also with no Energize, you definitely want that. We got Precision Intensify. Now, there's multiple Intensify mods you could run here. If you were to run Umbral Intensify, it would buff some of your other abilities some more, like your 2nd ability, and the 3rd ability we're not even using, but the 4th ability, Peacemaker, does scale the most with Precision Intensify, so I threw that on here. Of course, again, you can throw that on there if you want Umbral Intensify. A larger buff from shooting gallery, but I didn't find it to be that necessary in the end. Narrow-minded, we need lots of duration on this build because we don't want to be having to cast our cloaking arrow too often. But also, too, we want a little bit of range so the cloaking arrow is large enough to cover our character. Also, there's some tech I can show you, too, where you shoot your sentinel with a cloaking arrow and the sentinel follows you around. But I'm using this just, I'm basically shooting on the bubble and then jumping into the bubble with this. I'm not having the bubble follow me around. But yeah, some amount of range is good to offset that narrow-minded. And for the last mod, Transient Fortitude. Big power strength, but minus duration. We're still good on duration with 172%, so I think it's totally fine. As far as the arcanes on here, you have lots of options on Mesa, but we got Arcane Velocity on critical hit, 90% chance for increased fire rate for pistols for 9 seconds. 120% fire rate is really good on Mesa because she has infinite ammo and infinite magazine, so definitely run this one if you have it. And the new Arcane Hot Shot, gain a crit chance whenever you cause a heat proc with an ability, maximum 50 seconds. It's 300% crit chance when it's maxed out. So between this and our Archon Shards, we're getting lots and lots of red crits. So good stuff on that front. Now, if you want to switch out any other arcanes, we are invisible, so you could try Arcane Crepuscular, which makes you get increased power, strength, and crit damage while you're invisible. But in the end, I thought Arcane Hot Shot and Velocity were better for my build. For the rest of the stuff on here, we've got the Afentis Spear Gun, which comes from Call missions. And this is going to buff our fire rate on our Mesa's pistols. We've thrown this bubble. So we got double bubble on this build. Cloaking bubble and Afentis bubble. So allies with it will get increased fire rate, reload speed, ammo max, and minus recoil. We only care about the fire rate part, but between this and all the other stuff, we've got so much fire at Mesa, we are like an actual minigun. The build doesn't actually matter, though. I'd recommend you put on Amalgam Serration for some more sprint speed. And anything else that you feel like doing, just maybe search like set bonus. Anything on here that sounds good to you, go ahead and throw it on there. If you're using Companion, for example, Companions deal more damage to enemies affected by Slash. Sure, why not? The rest of the stuff isn't really that helpful, but you could probably find something you're going to like Arrow Periphery, potentially. For the Epitaph Prime, this was actually used to shield gate a little bit with the Augur mod. So we've got Augur, Seeker, and Augur Pact. Whenever we cast an ability with our frame, some of the energy spent will become shields and make us able to shield gate. So good stuff on that front. But as far as the rest of the build, we're just getting some Vira procs, and we're not running Nourish on this build at all. So I wouldn't recommend. I would recommend putting Vira on something. We also have Panzer Cat too, so we're pretty much set. So it's not that big of a deal on the build. But yeah, Vira Riven does help a lot. Just basically something to get procs, not something to throw some Augur mods on. You can throw out whatever you want on there. Now, as far as our melee, this one is pretty important. This is the Furax Wraith. Now you can use the Furax normal too if you want, and also you do not need the Incarnon for this. Okay, only thing you really need is you need the Furax weapon. Any Furax will do, but the thing you want on here is you want the Amalgam Furax body count mod. Increased combo duration, but the main thing we care about here is it gives increased fire rate for secondary weapons. So between this, the Afentis, Arcane Velocity, and our Companion, it's crazy. It's crazy amount of fire rate. You're gonna you're literally going to be a machine gun, so recommend this highly. Additionally, you could technically go down like the Crescendo Outburst route, which I sometimes do, but for this footage, I did not end up doing that because we're running Fortifier instead. But yeah, something like this with Crescendo could also technically work. Yeah, additional combo river could also work too, but again, that's not really being used to that extent in this video today. It's just more of a fire rate buffing build. As far as the Incarnon perks, Swordsman's Flourish, Standoff, and Absolute Dominion. Now, for the Mesa pistols here, this is what I rocked for level 10,000. Now, you might be like, why do you have 2 heat proc mods on here? In the end, I might actually take this off, but the reason I've got 2 heat proc mods on here is because when you proc Arcane Hot Shot, Mesa does not have the most status chance. He's got 24% status chance. So whenever we fire is a 60% chance for a heat proc. That being said, we fire very fast. So if you want to take off Expel Oricant and Scorch for like a corrosive build, you can do that, but it really didn't feel necessary and maybe even detrimental in the end. Our build here is focused on fighting corrupted enemies and Grenier enemies in Void Cascade. Because if you didn't know this, Void Cascade fissures are always Grenier and corrupt. Even if it says it will be Corpus in the picture, it will never actually be Corpus unless you're doing a non-fissure Void Cascade. So as far as this build, though, we're stacking up heat procs really fast. Arcane Secondary Fortifier gives us Overguard when we damage enemy. So we're basically getting Overguard constantly because Cascade has lots of Overguard enemies. If you do want to rock a different build, like I said, you can just throw on Corrosive. So like just search Corrosive and just go like basically like that. It's going to make your weighting a lot lower. Like as you see right now, we went from we went from, I think it was like 16% chance to proc heat, now it's a 12% chance, but when we're also, with corrosive throw in the mix, it will be a lot more, or a lot less consistent. You can do that, but something you also want to do is make sure you throw suppress on your pistols. This will make you them silent in your cloaking bubble. Enemies will not be alerted to your presence. So as far as the last couple things on here, the Panzer Cat, giving us some easy fire rate, additional fire rate buffs, which we sure have a lot of now. Another 6% fire rate if your cat has enough shields. We also got Tenacious Bond giving us crit damage if our cat has enough crit chance. And it does have enough crit chance with our setup right now. But as far as this, it's a viral proc. We're not really mod for viral anything besides Epitaph, so this will be easy. And that's basically it for the cat. Now, as far as the claws of the cat, like I said, shocking claws to make it do some electric procs for your Archon Stretch. Not necessary, but helpful. The main thing this thing is doing is just basically throwing out viral for us. Let's go ahead and show the corrosive build, show how many procs you get on that one, and we're probably going to call it a video. Mesa is good for level 10,000, but you need to find the survivability solution, which is, my solution was invisibility. Some people might not like that invisibility. So here we are with corrosive now, as you can see, much, much worse. Also, the hot shot procs are not even stacked up. So unless you have like an entire room of enemies you can constantly shoot, I'd recommend the full heat proc build, but the corrosive one can also get the job done too. Pretty similar kill times in the end. So yeah, guys, that's basically going to be it for the Mesa video. Hopefully you found it fun and helpful. I found her very fun to play at level 10,000 as a turret. As long as you accept that this playstyle is a turret, it's very good. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm pretty much forcing her to be sizable. If I was shield getting this entire time, it would not be anywhere near as good. So keep that in mind. She's pretty good for acolytes too, to be fair. But yeah, guys, that's basically it. I'll see you next time. New Spider Frame stuff on the way, and yeah, a ton more content as well. Take it easy, guys. Bye.